Bob Martin here. All right, so we're going to do a test. We're going to be testing the coil, that's the indoor coil of an air conditioner. Now there's two different applications. There's going to be one where we have a case coil, which is what we have here. Then we also have what's called an uncased coil, which is going to be buried in the sheet metal, which is in the plenum itself. So we're going to be doing a test with an electronic leak detector. So there's going to be some steps that we're going to take in order to do that. However, there is I'm going to say a pre-warming up of what we need to do prior to make sure that this test comes out correctly, I should say. One is we're going to be talking to the customer prior to this, and we're going to let them know to shut down their system. What that does is it builds up pressure in the system so that we have a better way of checking that system to make sure that if there is anything, it's going to show up when we do our test. Now, when the technician gets there, he is also going to be going directly to the thermostat and making sure that we shut it off before we do the test. Then once we do that, we're going to go down, either go to the location of the equipment. So the first thing we're going to be doing now is we're going to be testing a case coil application. So there's going to be some tools that we're going to need for that particular test. One is we're going to need a leak detector. That leak detector is going to, we're going to be opening up the front of that case coil. We're going to take our probe and we're going to go across the coils and we're going to be checking to make sure, and it's going to be a loud beeping noise. When that beep goes off or goes at a high rapid beeping, that's when you know you have a leak. And there's also a light on here that can show you when you're going up. Sometimes you want to mute it because it makes the customer nervous. I like to leave it on. I like to hear it, and I also like to see it. Sometimes it's a small leak and it might just go up one or two lights. So we're going to be doing that. Now what we're also going to do is we're going to be taking the front cover off, which I'm going to do now, and we're going to start checking the system. Now remember, we don't want the blower on, we don't want the system on. All right, and then we're going to take this panel off. There we go. It's important that you probably turn on this ahead of time. Let it warm up a little bit. It's going to go through some cycles. It's going to try and get this thing calibrated. So it's best to probably let it run for a little bit while you're doing that. So turn it on, let it run through its cycles while you're taking off the door. Okay, and now at this point, we're going to start doing our test. Now it's really important that we check all of the ribs. Oh, looks like we got something right here. All right. It's like all in this area. We're going here. And you're going to go through each and every rib, make sure anything that looks obvious. And it seems right in that area we have something. Then we're going to go back into here, go back into the coil itself, look all through there. And you'll notice this other door is on. We're still going to probably try and reach around and do the same thing over here. Okay, and that's pretty much what we're doing on the case coil application. This tool right here, we're going to need a step bit. We want to try and get a hole on the side, preferably on the side, and make sure you're going high enough on that sheet metal that you're not going into the coil. That would be a terrible thing to do. All right. Now the other thing we're going to have is we're going to have the cap. Once we're done, we're going to push that cap back in, and that'll fill the hole for us so we don't have any air escaping. So now that's going to give us a nice cut in there so we can actually start checking our coil. And again, if we're in there and we have an uncased coil, we can really get in there and check that coil thoroughly and get in there and make sure that we have no readings. And you're going to pull it back out. We're going to put our cap on it. Really important that when you're doing the uncased coil, to be very careful, because obviously you don't want to hit that coil or cause a leak. That's for sure. Once you go and you do that leak test, and again, if it goes off, you want to visually see if you can see whether there is a leak in the coil itself or not. Once you get that, you start to see indications of leaking, like oil or anything else, or residue in the pan itself. At that point, that confirms what you had found. You want to bring the customer down, show them, have them interact with you, and showing them where your leak is at and what you're seeing. And then you're going to call for a second opinion for the supervisor. He's going to come out and he's going to reconfirm what you found. And at that point, we have what's called a yellow tag. We're going to put that yellow tag on the system, letting the customer know that you have a leak on your coil, and that is getting into what we call that conditioned air. Very important. All right, well, good luck. Okay, let's recap. Step number 1, the operator instructs the customer to shut off the system. Step number 2, on arrival, shut off the thermostat and the switch at the indoor unit. Step number 3, warm up your refrigerant tester. Step number 4, case coils. Remove the front panel. Uncase coils, drill your holes. Step number 5, start testing. Step number 6, did it pass? Put it back together. Did it fail? Demonstrate to the customer. Step number 7, call the supervisor for a second opinion and yellow tag.